Hey, what's going on? Welcome along to another episode of the Strategy and Conversions podcast. I'm Jamie Michael Joseph, and as always, I'm joined by Mark Tanner. Mark, what episode are we on now?
Oh, blimey, 28?
Yeah, I thought it was 28. I thought I better just double check.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
28. I lose count now. We ought to be on top of this, shouldn't we, really?
yeah. I mean, we usually are. I
Yeah.
just we hit record then, and I'm thinking, hang on, how many have we done now? To me,
Yeah.
it's just another one.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I think part of the problem as well is that I think probably every day we are recording something.
Yeah, that's right.
So even though it should just follow on quite easy, because last week
Oh,
was
that's right.
what was 27. We've done 9 different videos in there.
I think we've done a lot of stuff, during that, a lot of training courses, and we did
That's it, yeah.
obviously one this morning as well. So yeah, we're
it's
always
working.
on. We're always on. I think we must be Zoom's best customers soon.
We're definitely using up the bandwidth, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah,
Getting our money's worth out of Zoom.
yeah.
That's what we're
absolutely.
doing. But yeah, I mean, it's all been good. Last week we obviously mentioned the whole kind of session was on your offering and your messaging, and we said we're going to do a 3-part series on that. So we did part 1 last time. Today's going to be part 2, where we're going to dive deep into the offering.
Yeah.
But just before we get into that, I guess just talking about a few things that we've been up to, and also just the whole kind of internet world, that we live in as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that whole big thing last week with Facebook, and all their kind of apps, Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, all of it going down for a good few hours.
That was big, wasn't it? I mean, and who'd have thought? And you never get to the bottom of why it went down, but it just shows, isn't it, that if you're going to rely on those apps for your business, and Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, all this stuff that goes with it. If you're going to rely on those apps to run your business, and all of a sudden they all go down, it's basically like your PC going down. You got a bit of an issue, so you can't rely. It just shows you, doesn't it? That we were talking about. We've talked about this many times. Don't rely on social media channels to be your source of business.
I think that works from the lead generation point of view.
Yeah,
that works from the nurturing point of view, and that works from the actual fulfillment. Because, I mean, how many people are fulfilling their services through a Facebook group and stuff like that? And do you know what? This isn't the first time that Facebook.
No, it's not.
It's been quite a few times. I would actually say, if you went back, if you thought about it over the past kind of year, there's been several times where it's gone down for a good number of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And during that time, and I mean, look, you'll get away with it. Of course you will. If you've got a Facebook group that you charge people for, and a few hours here and there, you miss out on, you'll get away with it until people are just like, look, this keeps happening. Or
I think that's the thing, isn't it? If it's a one-off, great, okay. It's not too much of an issue unless you're working on something at that particular point. But when it becomes a bit more of a regular thing, like I won't say it's becoming regular, it's not, but it's getting to a stage where you think, is that the best place to host a group on now, or should I actually look at taking all that away somewhere and putting it somewhere else? The problem is that doing that is a bit of a ball ache, I think, isn't it? I'd imagine actually getting everything and transporting it. Once you've got a group set up from Facebook to a different platform, it's going to be difficult because there's so much stuff to bring across, and I don't know if it's possible even.
I mean, you're going to lose members, aren't you?
I would have thought,
and especially if they are paying members, that's going to be tough then, to get them to move somewhere else and stuff like that. But here's the thing: I mean, if you just say, for instance, you were running some sort of program, or you had a Facebook group where you went live every so often. And that time when you're meant to go live, or you're meant to deliver the third part in a series of a program or something like that, and all of a sudden Facebook isn't working, well, look, it's out of your control.
Absolutely,
right? You can't do that. And then all of a sudden, then you've got to pick up the pieces, and you may have some loyal supporters that go, okay, we know it wasn't your fault, but you've actually broke the contract in what they've signed up to, right? You haven't delivered what you said you were going to deliver. You've now got to find another date to do it, or you've got to put a recording or something like that. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, it just throws a bit of doubt on the professionalism for what you're delivering.
And I think this, and unfortunately, this is a lesson for us as well, isn't it? Because we said I think we said on the, I can't remember when we said this on one of the trainings we did this week, that we've had a few problems with YouTube and Zoom with their different rules changing all the time, and we need to think about an alternative of doing this, for example, that we can control, and that's another issue. So we use, at the moment we're using, as do thousands or millions of other people, we use Zoom for communicating this way.
Yeah,
great, but Zoom have changed their rules once already recently, and who knows if they're going to start changing their rules, and yeah, exactly, who knows what they're going to do. And the same with YouTube. So always be aware that these things are beyond your control and you're at their whim, and so you need to at least have an alternative, and that's okay. I guess that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's go on to that then. I mean, that just it proves a great point. This is what we did in Momentum Builder. So we've got this program called Momentum Builder. We do a live group coaching session, a training session each month. And this morning was the first one that we kicked off on this new Momentum Builder program.
Yeah.
And we made a decision, a few months back when we were setting up strategy and conversions, that we just said, look, we're going all in to make an awesome platform that any client comes in, we've got everything in one place and everything they would need. So the support, they can message it through. The training is there. A community like a Facebook group, that kind of thing, is all there. On-demand training, And then we looked at, okay, look, if we did live training, we want it to be within that one place. And it's great. So we set it all up and we did it through Zoom. Zoom just decided that we need to pay for that webinar system, if we want to be able to embed our live Zoom that we're doing, into our website. Okay, thanks, Zoom. But Zoom allow you to stream through YouTube. So it's like, okay, well, look, we're streaming through YouTube and we'll put it in there. YouTube, all of a sudden then, look, you have to be a creator, which means you need all these watch hours and all these subscribers and stuff like that before you can actually then live stream somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like, thanks YouTube, so now, we're looking at another platform that, we can have more control over, that we can choose where we embed it and stuff like that. I mean, look, it hasn't broke anything for our delivery, because people can still, we patch it through YouTube, so people still get to watch it live and everything like that. There's no issue. It's just that it just means there's one more button for our clients to press, which we didn't want to be there, But the thing, the thing that we spoke about this morning is all about being able to adapt and being able to overcome, when you keep getting knockbacks like that, where we got to a stage where we set everything up and everything's perfect, and then all of a sudden it's not, and we're like, God, we do the same thing again, and the same thing happens, and we're just like, a lot of people just throw the towel in at that point.
Yeah, they can do, and I think, going back to one point you made about the user's got to have an extra click. It's all about the user experience. That's what we're always very, very keen on, is making it as a good experience for the user as possible. And that's why, for some people it may be no big deal clicking an extra button, but for us it is, because it's not what we would want to do if we were users. And I think also, going back, is that we have to find a way that's going to be that's going to be better for them.
It's going to remove that extra click,
Exactly. Well, it's just a nice slick way of doing stuff, and
I think that's what it is. And I mean, there's probably a bit of ego to it, where we're just like, you know what, we want the best system, we want the system that is awesome, so we look at different options. And I mean, that we go as far as we can with it. I mean, last week we introduced the app to our clients, so now they can just click a button, on the app, and everything is in there, so even though it is an extra click to watch the live video, it's still within the app, they still go into the app, and it's that easy for them to do it. But that whole point there, it's like, look, we keep looking at innovating, we keep looking at how we can improve things, and then obviously if a problem comes up, we look at how we can adapt and overcome it. And I think that brings us on to the offering that we're going to talk about this week, because the offering is something, I think, where people start to throw in the towel when things aren't going right.
And it's like you said, if you going back to the point you made, that if when the video goes down, a lot of people could just say, "Oh, this isn't working," and just, as you say, throw the toys out the pram. But what you need to do is think about alternatives to that. And then with the whole offering thing is that if you have some people, you're not positioning the offer right, and we can talk about that. But the actual offering itself is that could be a deal breaker for some people, because they just think, oh, I can't, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to make this up. And that could be a point where it seems like a huge brick wall that they can't seem to get past without actually sitting down and thinking about, right, what do I need to do to create this to be a really good offering, whether it's a product, service, whatever, that package thing. What do I need to do? What are the steps I need to take to start making this better than what's out there, or it gives more value than what's out there now?
I think, Tom, there's something there, kind of like reading between the lines, that I think is perfect to look at with how most people operate with their offering. Is that what we're going to talk about in this episode is the kind of foundations that you need to get right to build on top of. I feel like what happens is people miss those foundations, and they go with something, and then they try to patch up what they think isn't quite working.
Yeah.
And they just continuously then patch up. I'm trying to think of an example to use, but I guess it's a bit like if you've got an old car and it's like the engine isn't quite working, you replace something and then something else goes.
Oh, yeah.
And you're always kind of chasing it then to see where the next issue is, or what isn't quite working. Whereas if you just kind of had a new engine altogether, it's fine, it works, It's like that. That's the whole kind of thing with the offering, is it all starts off with, I call it your pop. I call it your pop, because there's three parts to it, which is your positioning, your offering, and your process. Right? And it's these three things together that kind of build up then what it is that you offer people, And we'll go straight in with the positioning. And this set of positioning is where we look at where we fit within the market.
Yeah.
So if you take any industry, any kind of market out there, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah. And there should be.
Yeah, and there should be. If there isn't, there's signs for concern there. It's you're either really new into the market, or you've created your own market, or there isn't a market there, and you're just going to be going around in circles for quite some time. But there's going to be competition. If we look at, we've done stuff on a webinar and stuff like that. We, I guess a bit of a shout out to say as well. I mean, last Saturday we did Saturday school for the Internet Business School. We went into basically present to their audience. Yeah. We ran through a load of bits and pieces through just marketing and ways to do things a lot easier. Maybe improve in different areas and stuff like that. And one of those was to work on your offer.
Yeah.
And we said about a crowded marketplace, and we showed a picture of a Rolex at like £12,000, and then a picture of a Casio at £40,000.
Yeah.
40. And it's like 40 quid, sorry, £40,000 for a Casio. That's going to be
a Casio.
That's a great Casio, you know. But yeah, so £40 for the Casio, £12,000 for the Rolex. But the thing is that you could go to like a shopping mall, and both of these watches are for sale.
Yeah.
They're there. People can buy them. And the reason that they're there is because people do.
Yeah.
Some people go for the £40 Casio. Some people go for the £12,000 Rolex. And there's loads in between. There's even watches after the Rolex that you can buy and stuff like that. And it's the same with different car manufacturers. There's the likes of perfumes and fragrances. You go into the supermarket, how much choice is there?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's so much there.
And what you'll find is that talking about the perfumes, is you've got the positioning, as you said, the positioning, isn't it? You've got high end stuff and you've got low end stuff. They're all for different markets. They're all in that market, but the positioning is that this is for, I don't know, for people on the go, whatever. And this is for the real luxury stuff, and depending on where you want to go. And that's the same with the Casio, and the Casio is functional, everyday use, whatever, easy to use, and not too bad if you lose it as well. Whereas the Rolex, God, you'd be heartbroken if you lost it. So, you'd probably only wear that on special occasions. Well, I don't know, maybe not. I've never had a Rolex in my life. But it's just, and that comes back to your point about the positioning. There's lots of these different things around, all in the same market, but they have each product, even within a. So going back to cars is a classic one. So even within your Mercedes or your Seat, for example, or your I don't know, Bentley, whatever, if you want to go on that one, you have different products within that have its own positioning as well. So they've gone really sophisticated. They've dived down. So you want someone who wants a small little small Mercedes to do what they're going to. So they've got the A series or the B series. Someone who wants a really the big stuff. It's the whole AMG. What is the I can't remember
the G-Wagon and all sorts,
all that
crazy
kind of
amounts
stuff,
of money.
All for different sectors within that market, even within that product.
Yeah.
So it's really, they've really diversified.
I think there's a great, I guess, a bit of a plug for a previous podcast that we did, and we talked about niching and how people say, look, you just need to concentrate on one niche and that's it. And we say, look, but your niche can be your overhaul of whatever industry you're in. So like Mercedes, for example, look, they make cars.
Yeah.
They make vehicles, but actually they cater to lots of different customers, and that's a great thing to bring on with your positioning, is that whatever product or service it is that you are offering, it fits in the marketplace where there is a particular type of buyer. And this is where you kind of get onto the avatar. And I know there's been a few times that we've discussed this, and we've kind of gone back and forth with not kind of disagreements, but we've kind of got different views on different bits and pieces within how the avatar kind of builds up.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of those topics that I think it has become one of the most diluted marketing tactics or marketing exercises. That people go through, and the reason it is that they and I totally get it, that look, you have to kind of visualize the customer that you want and who you help and all that kind of stuff, and that helps you build out your product to then go and sell them. But by looking at it in a way where you go, look, my avatar, her name is Jane, she's 47, she watches The Walking Dead on a Monday night, and there's this and there's that, and it's like that's all well and good, and it gives you a bit of clarity over the way to market, fair enough, but that doesn't give you an option within your business to really go after marketing, to scale it, to position yourself within a certain sector and command that space, and build that authority in there. And that to me is why I don't like the normal kind of customer avatar exercise that gets put out there.
Yeah, I think, and the danger is, isn't it, that and I think you've mentioned this before, is the danger is that you start marketing, you start creating that avatar thinking about your business and who that business will appeal to. And you go to cinema, don't you? For example, cinema, popcorn isn't sold to a Jane who's 46 and watches this or watches that. Popcorn sold to everybody who goes to the cinema. It's a very, very, very wide market. As you say, Mercedes is a luxury brand, but within that luxury brand, it has much smaller products that are then probably do have a bit more of an avatar. But the product of the business of Mercedes, you can't create an avatar for that. And I know the example you use a lot is Starbucks. There's different coffees,
I mean, I think that's a great one there, to kind of look at. And I think if you look at, I guess a bit of like fast food restaurants and that kind of stuff anyway, but the one with kind of Starbucks is that if you went into Starbucks and you looked around, or you surveyed everyone for what they were drinking, hardly anyone's drinking the same.
No.
But they're all drinking Starbucks. They're all in Starbucks. They've all got some kind of drink.
Yeah, exactly.
So the niche is already there with the drink. And I know they do food and cakes and stuff like that, but the drink is their core product. And that's what we're kind of talking about. It's like the core product. And that there is, yeah, so they've got the drink. Now, if you go in, I mean, you've got however many different kinds of milk and, you know, decaf and half calf and, you know, extra shots, all this kind of stuff, right? And it's like, yeah, there's so much variety there that it's going to be difficult for two people to have the exact same taste. You know, I mean, I'm plain. I just drink black coffee, right? So it's quite easy to have someone that drinks the same,
yeah,
right? But then there's so many different variations that, you know, there's going to be a lot of different people in there drinking that. So how do someone like Starbucks, how do they market to that one person that drinks black coffee like that? They don't.
exactly. Yeah,
they position themselves in the market that they say, look, we provide coffee, you know, whether you like Starbucks or you don't. I do. I think it's all right, you know. And it's like you basically command yourself within that way. You do have some competition. Sometimes they're next door to each other or across.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's right.
But they stand there, and you can get this in a bit of kind of brand, you know. So it is a bit of a kind of brand building. But the whole point of your pop is that it's a section off of your brand,
yeah,
which is between your branding, your marketing, which is that real pop that makes people want to buy. So
yeah,
you have your positioning. So quite rightly, like Mercedes, you know, if you've got someone who they want the Mercedes because they want that kind of class, they want that reliability, they want, you know, that kind of thing, but they don't want a big car, so they just want the little car, right? So that's fine. So what they do is they've built this car for that person, you know. So the way how now they position themselves in the market is, yeah, look, we are competing with the likes of maybe say a Corsa, or like you said, like a Seat or something like that. But we're saying, you know, we're giving you a little bit more. We're giving you the reliability, we're giving you the engineering, we're giving you this kind of stuff. So they're putting that foothold within the market that they can charge a bit more because people know they have that brand and everything like that coming along with it. But they also have a great option there that they can have what they want. You know, they don't have to go anywhere else. It's right there. It's that place. And that's what we're looking at positioning is that, okay, where is it that you fit within your market with this new product? So I'm saying, where does your business fit within the market? We're saying, where does this new product fit?
That product, yeah, and that's important, isn't it? You're honing honing down onto that product, so you're deciding, okay, this is a product that is fit for this particular market, and as I say, you don't want to niche too deep even on that necessarily, but you just want to get to the stage where you know that your market is for maybe low budget or something, for example. So low budget Casio. This is for people who just want a quick watch. They can buy. They're not too worried about it. It tells the time. It's perfectly reliable. It hasn't got all the bells and whistles, although some of the Casios have. But it's just if it's functional, looks okay, whereas the Rolex is really sort of aesthetically pleasing. This is just functional, does the job. It's a watch. End of story. And that's the market you're aiming for. The people who aren't interested in having having that kind of that class or that Rolex on there, advertising their wealth. Just somebody can buy a Casio.
And the great thing there as well is, look, there isn't an age restriction on that.
No, there's
no. The same as with the Rolex as well, is that you might see, the young kind of, say, celebrities or people in entertainment and stuff like that, with a Rolex. But then you may see someone in their 60s who has a Rolex, right?
Yeah.
And they like it for similar reasons, but they also like it for different reasons.
Yeah.
But it's still the same kind of product, right? It's still a watch. Still that thing. Like you said, then the whole thing with the Casio is that they're then positioning themselves as an everyday watch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rolex is positioning themselves as luxury.
Yeah.
They're letting the consumer choose what they want.
Yeah.
They're not going out there saying you need to buy this watch because we're better than Casio.
Yeah.
That's right. Casio are not going out there saying you need to buy this watch because we're cheaper than Rolex. And the same thing is that Casio isn't going out there and saying, hey, 37-year-old Emily,
yeah, exactly.
we've got a watch for you because we
know they're just distinct. The distinction of the two is the fact that one is a luxury item, one is the everyday easy item.
I guess what I'm looking at with the whole kind of avatar exercise that usually gets talked about is it goes into every kind of detail. When it doesn't, it just needs one or two parts, because like we just said with watches, we're not necessarily looking at ages and stuff like that, right? But if we look at a different kind of industry and we look at, say, look at a mortgage advisor, just say that they are looking, that there's a scheme going on to help first-time buyers. Well, first-time buyers are probably going to be, under the age of 35. So they can go after that. Whereas if it was, say, equity release, they're probably looking at people maybe 55 onwards or something like that. So their marketing that they look to put out there, their offer and stuff like that would be aimed more at those people. Right.
But they still do mortgages, is the point, isn't it?
They'll still
do, they'll still be able to adapt. Their marketing will say, this is equity release, and they'll be slightly different, maybe differently worded, and the products they sell, which they'll be slightly different for those equity release people as opposed to those. But the process, the kind of the business processes they're going to go through will be the same, but it's the positioning and the offering, the different offering to those different people. That's mortgage is a good example, but there's different things.
Yes, and there's so many like different examples that we can give within, different kind of industries. And you've probably got like, say, like a fitness trainer, for example. They may be looking at dealing with different people in different ways. So it could be a case of if they had a program that they were looking to fill during the daytime, they may look at an older clientele, because they may think that person has more time, they have more flexibility in their time to be able to come in the afternoon, whereas maybe someone who's younger is working, so they don't get to fill that slot. So sometimes it can be smart to look at different ways within there. However, you don't have to just fit in there to dealing with, people of a certain age. If you're a fitness trainer, is that doesn't have to happen. But all we're looking at here is that your positioning is that where is it that you want to fit within the market? Do you want to be, and we're using UK places here, so anyone around the world, you have to kind of look at it from your place. Is that we have the pound shop, we have Poundland, right? You have your supermarkets then, like Tesco's and Sainsbury's, and you have your Waitrose and your Marks and Spencers.
Right?
They all offer food, but they take a different stance in where they offer it from.
Yeah, that's right. So the Poundland and everything are thrift stores in the US, aren't they? I think
thrift stores, that's it.
Yeah. And we even have charity shops here. What we call charity shops. So there's different levels of different budgets. Well, it's not even different budgets; it's people's interest. So I know people who go to. We got a couple of charity shops up the road from us, and one of them is always packed with people who are, I think, quite well off, but their value is that they want to recycle stuff. They don't want to necessarily buy new. So it's all then if you're thinking about a kind of a niche thing, the niche then is on the values, not about the person themselves. It's the values they have. So you could be, and then as you said, with the different supermarkets, they all sell food. There's no difference really. Some people have got slightly different products because they got more luxury type products than maybe another supermarket, but they still sustain you. They're still food, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. Look, all of them are doing well.
That's absolutely.
But here's the thing: is well, right? For a consumer, right? Now, I don't know about yourself, but I'm talking about me here, and I actually feel quite confident in saying this, that probably a lot of the consumers have been to all of those shops.
Yeah.
So the ones who shop at Sainsbury's, they've also been to Waitrose and Marks and Spencers. They've also been to the pound shop or to the charity shop and stuff like that as well. You're not necessarily to buy food from the charity shop, but quite rightly, like you said, is that sometimes there's values in there where, some people may want to buy local, some people may want to do that kind of recycling side, like you said. Some people may have a sort of value to stick with the kind of green
loyalty,
sectors, and stuff like that. And it's like there's so many different things in there, right? That we've already been through a lot, and then we haven't even got into things like beliefs and so surroundings, like different influence and stuff like that as well. So all of a sudden, all these different things that if we went through a general avatar exercise and we start looking at all of these, well, we're niching down.
Yeah.
So we've got this one person named Jane or named Emily, right? They are actually the one client that we can get, in that avatar. It's just like that's how much they they niche it down usually, is that it comes down to that one kind of person that you won't find in everyone. Where if we kind of back up and we say, look, this is what we have to offer, we're here if you need us, and then we can market a certain way where we can gain their attention and bring them in, but we're taking that stand for where we are within the market, and it's like that there is the first part of the pop, is to work out exactly where you fit within your market. So it's not about we serve this customer because XYZ. It's like, look, this is who, this is where we are within our market.
Yeah.
These are the kind of areas that we can influence a decision in. These people will buy from us because, and then that gives you your positioning.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we move on then to your offering. So your offering, if you look at a product, I was gonna say a product and a service, but I think if anyone has a service, we look to productize it anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So that kind of product, then we call it an offering, because what you're looking to do is offer that product to someone in exchange, in return for a financial or something of value. Right. So what we look to do there is that offering is we're offering them the opportunity, the chance, whatever it is that we want to position it as, we're giving that to them. They have the option then, if they want to, if that's of value to them, they can exchange their money for it to receive the outcome, the solution, whatever it is that we're providing. And that's why when we look at the offering, we really need to drill down on what that offering is. What is that transformation that offering has? Now, if you have, just say like a low ticket item, you have something of high volume and stuff like that, this doesn't necessarily fit into what we're talking about here, because you're probably just going to look to kind of sell it and move on to the next thing anyway. You're not looking at creating this one offering as potentially a separate business in its own right. So I mean, any kind of offering that you want to create needs to be that business within its own right, meaning that it can sustain itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to just be one part of the business.
No, that's right. I mean, if you so going back to the offering thing, you could be, if you're dealing with low cost products, for example, high turnaround, low cost products, your offering may be a series, a series of these products, or a kind of bundle of these products, for example, to make into a bigger thing. But yeah, we're looking at, like you said, it's more of it's not one individual unit that is, say, you're not selling just whistles, for example.
Yeah. And I think there's probably been I guess we were going to put a financial figure on it. I think we would probably look at something that was over £500, as someone purchasing that, the offering is over £500, closer to say $1,000, for the US market and stuff like that. So I think that's the kind of minimum that we kind of want to look at. And obviously we've mentioned about things like Mercedes B class and stuff like that, which is probably about £50,000. And we could talk about yachts that cost $1 million. It's the same kind of process here that we want to run from. But if it is just a small kind of thing and it isn't your core offering, and if at the minute you're going, okay, this is what I offer and it's only this, unless you can really sell high volume, you need to look at something different.
Yeah.
To support that, right? Because you don't really have the business there if it's just.
No, that's right. Yeah, this has got to be something that can create a business with. Yeah. So going back to the Poundland or the thrift stores, that's why they sell a range of products. Is because the business line, if you like, is the fact that they sell all these different range of products. So yeah, this has got to be something that you can think of or can create that can be a separate business income on its own and stand alone. That's the whole point.
Exactly. And that's why within the offering we say about it being that kind of figure, and it's worth that kind of figure. It's worth that. I was going to say premium. I'm not necessarily saying that £500 is a premium, but we're moving away from the throwaway disposable kind of purchase and stuff like that. We are looking at there's some consideration there that someone has to buy, but the reason that they're looking to buy is it delivers an outcome.
Yeah.
The outcome can be tiny, the outcome can be massive, but it's always something of value to the person buying. It always moves the person buying from point A to point B, potentially even point C. But the whole point here is that it moves them from the problem that they're having, to a solution.
To a solution, yeah, that they could that clears their problem. That's right. And that that's the kind of the customer journey, as people call it, and that's essential to have the offer. What does it do? How does it help? And the line is often, it moves people from here, point A, where they're for emotional discomfort or whatever is going on, to point B, where all of a sudden their life becomes easier. Just becomes easier to manage. I mean, let's look at you could look at, for example, I'm just taking a white product, for example. Let's look at a microwave. What does it do? Well, a microwave helps you to warm up or create your food quickly and easily, faster than in a cooker. Maybe not as tasty, it doesn't matter. But the whole idea of this particular solution is quickly warm, prepare a meal. So from cold or from frozen to hot meal within a certain time frame. 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, whatever. It's a simple thing. It's quick and easy. It doesn't change their lives. This is not the point. It just makes it it's easy. So this particular from A to B isn't life changing. It takes the hassle away. That when you come back after a hard day, you haven't got to think, oh God, I've got to start cooking something now. Oh yeah, put it in the microwave. Done.
And that's it, man. You mentioned a couple of things in there that we'll come on to in just a minute. But like you said as well, is that it doesn't have to be life changing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's sometimes what a lot of people do with their offering, is that it needs to be seen as like the next big thing, and it's massive and it's going to change your life and stuff like that. Some people just want a quick solution. If it's raining, they want an umbrella. It's that simple, and they only want it for a short period of time. Because then they're back inside. It's not anything that it doesn't always have to be something life-changing or something massive that they need. It can be something that just solves a small problem. And an umbrella is hardly anything to buy, right? And that's because it just protects them from the rain and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that just because your offering solves a small product that it doesn't command a premium.
Yeah, exactly.
There's people out there that spend a lot of money for what's the word I'm looking for, just so that they can get from that kind of change, that point A to point B, without any kind of issues and stuff like that. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but we'll get to it. But it's just of ease to them, of convenience to them.
Convenience, to
be able to do it. And that's the thing there. And then once we know the problem and the solution, we get to look at the before and the after. So we get to look at, okay, look, where are you right now? So where are you going to be? Or this is where you're going to be to how you were before. So once we have that, that kind of customer journey, like you said, we get to understand that this is the outcome. So once we have the outcome, then we can look at, well, how much do we charge for this outcome?
Yeah, exactly.
How much would people pay for this outcome? And it comes down to your positioning within the market. So the client types that you're going after, are you in a premium market? So we said about, for instance, say like a mortgage advisor, they do mortgages, they just deal, they deal with all kinds of mortgages and stuff like that. But maybe they are going on a drive for offering a particular product that helps people get mortgages on £1 million homes, or X amount of £1 million homes and stuff like that. Well, they can charge a premium for that price.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because they know that people have that money to be able to pay for it.
Yeah.
Whereas if they tried to charge that premium for people who are just starting out, and it's a good percentage of the value of a house, well, they're never going to get any business because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and again, that positioning means that going back to the Rolex and the Casio, even the Rolex, all the Rolex are selling. It's a watch. Casio, there's loads of other watches around. What Rolex are really selling is the prestige. It comes like you go from not having something on your wrist that's particularly glamorous or something, to actually having a prestige item on your wrist, something that people will go, wow, is that a Rolex? That's all they're selling. Not life changing. It's just that kind of, oh, I've got a glossy, I've got a watch here, and I want to have something that really shows the prestige that I want to feel. Bang, here's the Rolex that does that. And that's just as you're again coming back to all the trainings. I know that I keep talking about, I keep talking a lot of this. What you're doing is you're solving an emotional issue. So for example, is on the microwave, somebody comes home, they're fed up and tired, and they just think, oh, I cannot be bothered to cook myself something in the oven that's going to take 2 hours or whatever, and make it up from scratch, or even make up from ingredients. Here they have a microwave. The microwave meal that you can put into the microwave, you can get within say 5 minutes. It's what they're coming from is feeling that emotion of feeling hungry and really just fed up with everything and just want something really quick and easy solution, to actually having something on a plate. They can think, oh great, here we go. And it's lifting them from one emotion to another. The Rolex is again the prestige. It's the emotion of feeling good. There's a huge area to sell just in getting people to feel good, and that kind of, it seems a bit sort of nefarious, that thing. There's not any substance to it, but there is a huge amount of substance, because it's how people feel, and that's the whole point.
You get that a lot. You see people, they go shopping, and it's like they go shopping, they buy loads of clothes and stuff like that, and it's a good feeling to buy stuff.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. But you mentioned the microwave. I think that's great timing there, to kind of look at within your offering. Okay, look, you have the problem, the solution, you have then the price point for what you're looking to charge, and there's lots of different reasons that we should go with a certain price point, and we did lots of training in our momentum builder this morning, because we're looking at, okay, that you need to know how much it costs you to fulfill, and all the kind of costs involved and stuff like that. And to be honest, I mean, we did a big strategy session last week, with a guy called Nathan, a video company and stuff like that. And we were going through where he has an offer, a new offering, which is really good. On paper, it looked really good. It looked like a cracking bargain for the client. And then when we actually broke it down to, okay, like, how much are you charging, and then what are the costs involved, it didn't look as appealing to him then as what it did, an hour before.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we were able to look at it, we were able to tweak it into an offering that made sense all the way around.
Yeah.
For him, for the client, and he's got that service back and everything like that. But the point there is that you need to know what price you're charging. There's lots of stuff in there, and even if you're charging a premium and it's X amount of money, you need to know why you're charging it. It's not just a case of saying, okay, like, I'm going to put myself in with Rolex now, and I'm going to charge, I'm going to put a watch out for 15k, when all you've done really is just take, the Casio watch or something like that, and you've put a different logo on it. It's like, you're going to get found out at some point.
Not going to work.
It's not going to be sustainable. We come back to that whole thing of, look, it needs to be sustainable so that you can either maintain, you can look at scale, but you can look at where that growth is whenever you want it, because you have that product offer in there. So once we have that, then right, so problem solution, we have the pricing, we looking at what benefits there are. So you mentioned with the microwave, there's a big thing between features and benefits.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the features there are just like, you can program it, it's going to turn off when it's finished cooking and stuff like that. It's going to beep to let you know. But the benefits are quite rightly, like you said, is that you get home, you can't be bothered to cook or anything like that. It's just there is ease. It's going to, the benefits are is that you can have a hot meal within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. The benefits there are, it's a small appliance within your place that doesn't cost as much.
That's right. It doesn't take up much space. Again, other benefits you can say is that, because it's got a timer that pings that you can go and just make a phone call or something, and don't have to watch it, and it'll ping when it's ready. It's all those kind of, which I know are benefits that every other microwave has, but but there's still a market for them. There's still a market for the really cheap, easy microwave, because it's lower cost, lower budget, doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it still does what you want. as opposed to the big microwaves that you can pay a lot of money for, to have all these kind of different features. And you can even roast roast something that's things in there as well. And they got grills and all sorts.
Use
but
your phone.
A lot of people don't want that. They don't want it. Yeah. So it depends.
Funny story there as well. I mean, I've got a coffee machine, right? That one of the benefits is that it connects to your phone, right? And it's like that's great. They give me an app and everything like that, but all it tells me is that how much coffee I'm drinking. I know I drink too much, right? You know, that's all it tells me. It doesn't make the coffee for me. You know, it doesn't do anything. All it tells me is that you've had X amount of coffees today, and you probably need to descale the machine.
But there are people that will love that feature.
Yeah.
There are people that will love it. Oh, it's got an app. I can do that on the app. I know people who can through an app, can set their ovens from 50 miles away to cook something. You think, okay, yeah.
You know, there is stuff. I mean, even in the kind of the plumbing world and stuff, and you know, you can set then for your bath to run, you know, at a certain temperature before you're even home, and it'll stop off at a certain level and stuff. I mean, this technology is insane. You know? But that whole thing, I mean, yeah, do you know what I want on the app is I want to press that I want a coffee in 10 minutes time when we finish the podcast. You know? I can walk to the kitchen and it's there.
One day
that doesn't happen. But anyway, the reason I'm saying is that there's all kinds of benefits that, quite rightly, like you said, are going to appeal to some people, and that's the position in the market and stuff like that, where it's going to really tick those boxes. I like it because there's certain types of coffee in there that, you know, are really good quality, and it's like, yeah, it's cool. That to me is a bigger benefit than, you know, the app. But for some people, the app will be, you know, the way forward. But the point here is that you get to look at, you know, the kind of benefits, right? So we looked at the problem solution and stuff like that. We look at the price, we look at then the benefits. That there, what happens is it gets to sum up what the customer gets, right? So we look at where we fit in with market, and then we look at what the customer gets from that. And then what we have to look at.
So essential for your marketing, isn't it? Because that's the point. The customer wants. Again, we covered this, didn't we, on the training this morning? We've done it before as well. The customer wants something that adds value to them. Okay, and that's all they're interested in. What's it? We kind of like what's in it for me. They don't care really. To a lot of, well, certainly if they haven't bought from you the first time, they don't really know you that well. They won't have built the trust. They don't really care about you. But what it does for them and the benefits of that thing, it says, yeah, we've got this. And if you give a string of benefits and somebody can look at that and say, wow, that's good. Oh, I like that. Wow, yeah, great. That's something I'm really interested in, because it becomes a tick box in their mind. And again, coming back to benefits, is that each tick is a mental nod in that buyer's head or that prospect's head. Does it do this? Yes, it does. Does it do that? Yeah. Does it? Yeah. Can I control it from my app? Yeah. Yes, I can. Exactly. Whoa, that's a benefit to me. You know, that kind of thing. And they think, wow, that's brilliant.
Exactly it. And it's like, once you have those two parts sorted, so you have your positioning, you have your offering, look at the process. Yeah. And the process is in two parts, really. You know, so what we need to look at is, how do we fulfill something? You know, so how is it that we take that customer from point A to point B, you know, or point C or whatever it is? How do we get that person from their problem to the solution? Yeah. Because it could be something as easy as, here's the microwave, right? You just put your food in and everything like that. But just say it's a coaching program, you know, and now we're looking at getting someone from, you know, that they're at a stage where they can't do something, or they need to overcome some sort of issue. Yeah. And they want this kind of outcome. Well, okay, look, what are the steps in between? So what are the kind of 3 steps or 4 steps that help them move from where they are now to where they want to be? We want to look at that process, because we want to be crystal clear that, for one, we know how to help them. But for 2, we can then explain how we help them to them. And 3, we can market how we help them. Because once we know the process, I mean, we don't want to give all our secrets away. We don't want to go out there and say, okay, look, this is what we do. We start off with this, and then we do that, and all this kind of stuff, because you do want to have a bit of, not secrecy, but you want to have something for why people are coming to you, right? So sometimes you kind of want, and the best way to kind of look at this as well is, if you do something that isn't of the norm, you you basically productize that. So you come up with a word for whatever that is, and then that becomes a mechanism then that no one else has. But the point here is we want to know the process, for how we fulfill that. Okay, so once a customer says, yes, here's my money, and then we got the outcome, look, what are the steps then to get that outcome? Okay, so we want to get crystal clear on that. The flip side then is we want to look at how a customer comes into us.
Yeah.
So we want to look at, we're not talking just about marketing and, putting a message out on social media or anything like that. We're talking, okay, look, do we need to speak to them? Do they need to fill out any kind of form? Do we have to evaluate if they're the type of customer that we want to work with?
Yeah.
Is there a waiting list? Is there this? Like, what happens? What is that process? And it's like, I think sometimes it's quite easy for people that they can just say, look, I'm ready. As soon as someone comes to me, I'm ready. I'm gonna serve them. That's fine. But once with that position, if you're in a position where you are in demand, but you can't start with someone straight away. There's a great example. There's I don't know if you ever read a book. I can't think what the name of the book is now. I think it might be Unstoppable or something like that. There's a guy called Tim Grover, and he was a bit of a coach to Michael Jordan, where he helped him a bit with kind of mindset, but also with his play and his dieting and everything like that. But he didn't work with anyone else, just Michael Jordan. And then when Michael Jordan retired, he worked with Kobe Bryant. And when Kobe Bryant retired, he went off then Dwayne Wade or LeBron James and stuff like that. And he worked with those. So it's like, his positioning was, I'm the best at what I do, so I work with the best. I'm not going to go and try and work with everyone or anything like that. So he couldn't, even if, for instance, say a better client came along, he couldn't just say, yeah, I'll work with you, because he's already busy working with that one person. So, what is the process? Is there a waiting list? Is it like, okay, look, you're next on my list when I finish working on this project, I'll come and work with you. The same as maybe an artist or something like that. Once they finish doing something, then they'll work with someone else.
Then they can do something else. Yeah.
Or is it just a case of, no, all you need to do is go to the website and buy. That's fine. We get to look at then, fine. That's it. This is how we then deliver it to you. That's how you get it. If it's a coaching program for something like that, maybe there is that consultation that you have to do first to make sure that you're, a great kind of partnership to work together.
Yeah,
a great fit.
I think that's that part. That process thing is also the whole understanding of your capacity, isn't it? What is your capacity to fulfill? And if there's a time for money element involved, like in coaching or discovery call or that kind of thing, that could be for all sorts of things, for even for builders and stuff. Builders are another one. That's an assessment of work that need to carry out. There's part in there that they need to do first, which takes their time or somebody's time. So how many of those can you do in a day or in a week? And is it a case of you have to start thinking, right, I can't take any more work, I was going to have to move this to the following week, or I'm going to have to move this beyond that. A lot of builders that I work with, they're booked up till February. They're not available. The bathroom installers, I can't install anything till February because all our time's taken out. If I get a cancellation, then great. But so their marketing is all around, if you want a luxury bathroom, we're the people to come to. You won't get the luxury provided anywhere else. But we're booked up till February. You put your start looking for dates in March and further on. So you have to understand that. And then the problem is, if you have a long wait list, then you have to think about, right, okay, is that going to put people off? Are they going to move away? So again, on your process is, if people aren't prepared to wait 3 months, 4 months for something, what can I add into my process that makes it more accessible? Or can I have someone else fulfilling? Or once you get to that level, you understand what is exactly involved in what you're delivering.
Yeah.
Then you can see that, right, okay, how can I improve that process? How can I make it better, easier, better value for the customer?
Yeah, exactly that. And even if you do have to just have that in there, that there is a 3-month wait.
Yeah.
What is the process then that we still make the client feel as if we are They still are our client, you know. How do we still move them along, you know, where they know they're next on the list after the 3 months, and maybe we're doing the different touch points along the way, you know, to keep them kind of, you know, just interacting with us before we can fulfill that. But that there, I mean, we're talking about Nathan with his product, with his product offering, and we said about price. Well, the reason that we when we looked at the price, there was a concern, was actually the fulfillment of the service taking quite a bit of time to do so, you know, and it took time because it's quality. You know, he's making sure that the end product is really good. But when you actually add up, you know, the time that's spent, well, there was little room there to make a decent amount of money.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and then what that meant then was that, well, actually, it wouldn't make sense to me even doing that if he can take a project on elsewhere. So if he's committed then to doing this, and a project comes in, he has to turn down the project that's worth a lot more money.
Yeah,
because he's committed to this. So, like I said, we restructured it in a way that it makes sense, and he has a really good product there, and it's something that he can continue with, and he can grow, he can scale. I mean, there's lots of options with it now that, you know, it's in that position, and that's where it comes back to looking at these 3 areas, because we wouldn't have spotted that without looking at the process.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's the questions. Yeah, it is exactly that. So when we got to the stages, okay, Nathan, what's the process? And he started off without being that sure himself, and he was talking about, okay, let me think about this. So he started to put it together. So he had put because this came from an idea. So then he put the process together, and that's when we said, it's not going to work. And it's not because he couldn't do it. It's got nothing to do with the fact it's not going to do it. It's the fact that it wouldn't give him an income.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's not that he couldn't do it, you know, through his expertise or anything like that. Of course he could. It's that he was definitely undercharging himself.
Yeah.
You know, and that there, what would happen is that it isn't sustainable, because he would need to get some income from somewhere else. You know, his passion would probably then lack in his enthusiasm, his motivation. So he wouldn't be able to get the customers anyway.
No.
You know? So it's all of a sudden you're back to square one, or even in a worse position, because you just didn't look at the process. And that's a lot of the times, you know, going back to the beginning of this podcast, I said about what you get sometimes is where they don't have a solid foundation, things are going wrong, and they're trying to put plasters over it. They're trying to just, you know, put those band-aids on to cover up where it's wrong and something else is happening. Whereas if you had this right from the beginning, you know, then, okay, we have to change the price straight from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we need to do this. Otherwise, it's not going to get to that stage. And it's like just that exercise in its own right, you know, is, you know, of value to anyone, because you may look at that and go, I shouldn't do this. You know, I need to look at it from a different angle now and do something different. And there's no problem with that. There's no shame in that. It's actually a smart decision to look at something and say, this isn't going to make me enough money, you know, or, you know, we talk a lot about, especially we did the momentum builder session, and we're looking at life goals and your business supporting your life goals. And it's like, well, look, if you're looking at your business going, this isn't scalable, or this isn't in a way where I can grow it to match my life goals, then what's the point in doing it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know? And that's what, like, so most of the time when you see a product or service out there, or a program, or, you know, something that someone's put together and they don't sell, it's because they didn't go through the processes like this. Because the processes that we've just looked at, it helps us to build out a statement within our business, because our positioning allows us to go, we help this.
Yeah.
Right. So wherever we are within our positioning, our client type, so it could be, okay, look, we help industry professionals in the finance sector. Right. You know, it could be like something like that. And then we get to say, we help them get. And we look at, okay, look, our offering, look, where does our offering move them from point A to point B? You know, so we get to look at, look, this is what they get. This is the outcome that they get. Then we get to look at the process. So we can actually say then, you know, we do this without, and we can say without the kind of complication, or without the high price, or without the, you know, whatever it is that someone else is missing, maybe a competitor is missing, you know, we get to say, or what a competitor is doing, what the problem is, or something like that. we can say without this, buy, and then whatever it is. I said about that kind of unique mechanism. So if you do something in a certain way that you know that no one else is doing, you can put that in a way where you productize it into a word. So that method then becomes a word. So all of a sudden now you're saying, I help these kinds of people get these kinds of outcomes without all the hassle that they usually experience through what I have right now.
Yeah.
And that there will fill you with the clarity, the confidence, the courage to then move on to the next phase to put your messaging out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's it's so essential, because the amount of times, well, you and me, I'm sure, but yeah, we've both been to networking events where we've actually had that kind of conversation with people in one-to-ones. And I said, yeah, well, this is what I do. I help this and I do that. And then you say, how? And they're completely lost. And they'll give it all, they'll give you a complete discussion that lasts about 10 minutes of how they do it. And by then you think, whoa, I'm totally confused. You've got to be able to be succinct about how you do it. How it's that we got a four-step process. We do this, then we go to that, then we go to that, then we do this. Perfect. That's your pitch. But unless you've actually thought about this and the whole process of, we get you from A to B without this hassle through this. Okay. Yeah. And then when the question how then is, okay, we do it by dump, end. You've got the outcome you want.
And then that prospect as well says, okay, what's the next steps? Well, we know what the next steps are because we have that process.
Yeah.
Because we have that process to bring them in as well. And it's like, look, the next process is that we have a conversation to see if we're a great fit to work together.
Yeah. Exactly.
That kind of thing. Or, you fill out this application form. There's that there. We have all that clarity. So instead of, like you said, someone then says, okay, I'm interested in that. How do you do it? Oh, well,
yeah. Well, now you're asking.
How would you do it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and all of a sudden you've lost that sell because you can't just answer it within that split second. Okay, look, what is it? And the reason is you haven't done the work. You haven't put the work in with what we've been through in this episode. In this episode, I'm going to be honest. I know that in one respect we kind of droned on, right, with this kind of stuff, right? And it's like sometimes it's quite difficult to talk about it and think about it at the same time and come across really kind of motivated and enthusiastic about it, because there's a lot of strategy and a lot of processing, and a lot of kind of looking at the kind of information as you're putting it together in your head. Is that sometimes you can see it, but then to articulate it can be a lot. But if you just go through those motions, right, your positioning, where do you fit within the market, who is it that is actually going to buy from you, your offering, then look, how much does it cost to get someone from point A to point B, and how are you going to do that? If you know that, you're already way above most people out there. And you're going to appeal to clients. Then people are going to want to work with you because they're just like, this guy or girl knows what they're offering. They're confident that they can get this result. I have then the kind of clarity on how I'm going to get this result, and they're ready to work with me. They're ready to go, yeah, let's do it. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to work with that person that's saying to you, look, I have the clarity, the confidence and the courage to help you get from here to there.
Yeah, exactly.
And like that statement as well. I mean, if you can work out that statement, again, look, your levels above.
And it comes. I totally agree with you, because it's all about that value you give to that person, to that prospect, if you want to call it prospect. And if they can see what they're getting and how easy, not easy necessarily, how straightforward, let's say that it might involve work on their part, probably will involve work on their part, especially if you come to like a coaching and consulting where there's a lot of thinking involved. But the point is, it's straightforward for them to understand, and they understand there's work involved. But the point is, but then you can say, okay, this is where you are now, or this is the point that you're at now, or we think you are, and then this is where you're going to get to within 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, without the hassle of having to do all this on your own, for example, or whatever. There's, yeah, I'm not very good at thinking on my feet, obviously, am I? But the whole point is, you can the customer or prospect can see that, right? Okay, I can do that. I can do that. And even in your process, you can even ask the question that they may have in their own mind: why are you better than other people? Because you're saying I can move you from A to B without the stuff that normally has to be done because of this particular process, through my unique or whatever, or my 4-step process, 4-step easy to follow process, for example. Easy is a great word for me. Easy to follow is a great word, because people think, oh, okay. Because as soon as something becomes complicated, or they think it's going to become complicated, the off switch is gone. And so making it really easy to follow is essential for your prospect to become a customer. And making it easy to follow it won't be easy to follow if you haven't followed this idea of, okay, position, what am I offering, and what's the process, how am I going to deliver it
as well. When you were talking now, I think a good way to explain it is if you look at kind of further education. So if you look at maybe, say, someone studying for a degree, or maybe someone's training to become qualified at a certain high level of, being a doctor, or maybe, say, an accountant or something like that, is that they know there's different trainings that they have to go through, that they then become qualified in a certain area, and then they know they go on to do further training to get to another certain area. That stuff is all mapped out. So before they even start, they can see the end goal. They can see how they get there. And it's like, that could be over several years. Right. But they can see from the outset what it's going to be, what stages they need to get to. Your outcome could be over several days, but you're still letting them know what the outcome is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're just processing that out.
And make it easy for them to understand. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point to kind of end on here, because I think we've gone into some quite heavy stuff here, that it might take a while just to kind of, process through and stuff like that. But once we have all that kind of ready there, we get to look at the messaging. Yeah. And this is the whole kind of reason that we're doing this as well, is we're saying that when we put them together, it just becomes this powerful thing, that just works. So the next episode, we're going to be diving more into the messaging, and then we're going to look then at how we kind of put it all together. So what we just said there with that statement is how we begin it, right? Yeah, because how we begin that there is, we know, okay, look, we help get this without, through.
Yeah.
That's exactly it there. So yeah, look, we'll wrap things up here. We mentioned a couple of times about Momentum Builder. We'll put a link wherever you're watching this to go and check it out. This is where you get to work with Mark and myself through a program that's going to help you add a sustainable income stream over the next 12 months. We have lots of different benefits within there. We've got Unbiased Assist, which is a private messaging system when you need support. We have the Momentum Group, which is a community that isn't built on Facebook. It's within our app and everything like that. We have on-demand training. We have live training. It's all there, right? So we'll definitely put some information below. Definitely check that out. If you're looking at either ways to improve your business, add income streams to your business, start something fresh, or even start a side hustle, right? Go and check that out. And we'll see you next time.
Indeed, we will. Yeah.
I guess unless there's anything else you want to add, Mark.
No, I think we've done the pop.
We've done enough here today. Done the pop. Give them a lot to think about.
Yeah.
So look, definitely just go away and think about that. Just think your pop, your positioning, your offering, and your process. Yeah. Start working that out. And then next week we'll put it all together with your messaging. Yeah. And again, look, this is going to put you levels above everyone else, right?
Yeah, so, it will.
Yeah, definitely. Mark, it's always been a pleasure.
Indeed, yeah.
Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for being here.
So we'll see you then.
Yeah, okay. Cheers.